Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and a warm welcome to this week's Walking Wednesday. Sorry about the quality. For some reason, I don't know if the lens is smudged or something. Feels like I don't know. Not really sure. And yes, Swarm was once again subjective, and because the sun is setting behind me because I forgot to charge my phone, and it's been obviously still continuing to get darker much before. The irony is that we got the new car a while ago, so I could actually use it in order to get to rehearsals more comfortably in the winter time, and I have yet to be the one to use it. Partly because I've been I still haven't been feeling 100%, and therefore been accepting lifts from other people, and today might be no different because I'm doing a bit worse than I was yesterday. Is that because of badminton battles? I couldn't say. Probably not, to be honest, but who knows? Maybe that didn't help things. But yeah. And also because it's been half term, so there haven't been, there's been no actual rehearsals aside from the one on Sunday, until today, of course, in which point there will be another one. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. And yes, I guess I probably should talk about the rehearsal itself, because supposedly half term was listed on the schedule as line learning time, and I've been reserving all of my energy for the moments that I need it the most, so I don't fall off completely, algorithm wise. But yeah, I did my best to be at least off book for the one scene that I was called for. And I was going to do the same thing tonight, and I found out I've got two more that the director's going to do, so I'm definitely bringing scripts tonight. But yeah, so it turns out everyone else had their stuff, and I was the only person who was off book. Then again, they have more lines to learn in general, most of them, so I can honestly understand that. And it's mostly been, blocking. That's our main focus. So, I think that seems to be, what our focus is right now, or it's the director's focus. So it wasn't super intense, and that was quite good. Tonight's rehearsal promises to be a bit more intense, actually, so we'll see how things go. Chances are I will be requesting another lift, and I will be yet to use my new car for its original intended purpose. And apparently, my parents have also been testing the car for certain things, and there are no problems have been detected, I don't think, but actually maybe one of them. But just to make sure that all the features are there that we've had promised. Not that there are no ways around said features, because I happened to find one of them because I didn't know that the feature in question existed at the time. So that kind of worked out in my favor before I stopped driving it. But other than that, yeah, got to make sure the other stuff is in order, gets exactly what you've paid for in the first place, which makes perfect sense. So, just as well that D&D happens to be tomorrow and not tonight, because it means that the nowhere that I was already planning to go is now solidified. So yeah, that's how it goes, I guess. And of course, I forgot to mention also there's another thing that happened on Friday night, which was curry night, in which I ordered one of the non-curry dishes, because that's just the way that I do things, of course. that's also something I was saving energy for, because the idea was that that was also a social event from the theatre company to actually get to meet people, and I ended up with having the same issue doing that I did in Peru, which was simply the seating plan. Because what happened when I was in Peru was that, obviously I was there with 3 childhood friends, and therefore we always want to sit, relatively near to each other. Next to each other, of course, is preferable, and exactly what happened in most cases. So we did that, but of course when we were, gathered, because we were part of this big tour, of course, as if you remember, and that, I think it went up to, I don't know, something like 20 odd people that were there at given times. So basically, we had so basically, we were, whenever we sat on the long tables that were there, I would try my best to sit somewhere in the middle so that I could get to know the new people as well, the ones we were supposedly spending a lot of time with, of course. But yeah, then the other friends being more on the shy side, they usually opted for the edge of the table, in which case I could talk to them and a few other people and miss out on the larger conversation that was happening, to the other side. Just one of those things, just how it happens sometimes. But yeah, it's and the reason I bring that up is because in Curry Night it was similar, because we were off to one side, because of course I was my original plan was to drive myself there, find a place, wait in the car, and head in. But because I was being dropped off, I was dropped off early. We were told not to be early because of this reservation, so I had to pace around and go for a bit of a walk around the area, do a bit of a lap, return still early, but there were some people who were just arriving, and they decided to wait inside in the warmth, and we were on the other side of the restaurant where our table was supposed to be. They cleared off the table, other people showed up, took the middle spots, and I was at the end again. So yeah, although silver lining, I suppose, is that since I was not as chatty as normal, that I ended up being fine with just a handful of people to talk to for the most part, and just kind of absorbing little pieces of conversation, and of course not finishing my food way later than normal, because that's always what ends up happening. So if I'm talking a lot, that is. So yeah, that was Friday, and then Sunday was the actual rehearsal, which again was mostly just blocking. I kind of once again uncharacteristically kept to myself, and reacted to a couple of things, did a bit of practice heckling, because the pantomimes, you're supposed to do that. I offered a suggestion of how to play off a scene to the director, which he found funny. There's a particular moment where a character is supposed to be listing off a bunch of details. I guess it's not much of a spoiler that Jack has to sell the family cow, because everyone knows Jack and the Beanstalk, and he's just going over a list of things while supposedly the person he just sold the cow to, and the cow herself is pulling apart and just leaving while he's distracted. And I thought it'd be funny if he segmented the list a bit, and every time that every time that he says something that the person he sold the cow to stopped, and then continued afterwards, trying desperately to get out of that situation. And the director really liked that. We tried it once, blocking wise, and he was happy with it. That only the nickname of Director Number 2. which is going to be interesting once I, because I mean, he did say he accepted, you know, feedback and suggestions from people, so, you know, it wasn't like I was out of line for doing so, which is fantastic, because I have a few suggestions for some of the song lyrics that are, you know, that are there. Because you know how in pantomimes they'll use existing songs a lot of the time, and they don't always quite match up, or some attempts to make them match up have you know, don't go far enough. So I'm gonna, you know, offer a couple of alternatives potentially. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, and also how I'll be singing in general, because, you know, once I've got myself some good old-fashioned lemsip, and I don't know about honey and lemon, to be honest. It'll be just a combination of two different variations of honey and lemon, probably just the lemsip, to be honest. That should do fine. And we'll see what happens tonight. But yeah, I suppose that's the main areas of focus. There were a couple of other scenes that... actually, the scene that I did that suggestion for was one I wasn't actually meant to stay for necessarily. You know, I was told that I could leave as soon as possible, but... you know, I had to drop a message anyway to say so. And normally I wouldn't leave a rehearsal early anyway, because... well, first of all, it's been ages since I've even had rehearsals. So, you know, why not soak all of them in? But yeah, considering everything going on, I was like, yeah, I will retreat to some degree. There was somebody in the curry night who did say that, you know, if it were up to her, everyone would be there for every single rehearsal. Which I can understand, but I do remember that when I was in even on a youth theatre, there were... you know, we did a thing where, you know, the regular theatre sessions that were, you know, like the club-specific ones themselves, they were reserved for, you know, a lot of the big scenes, or polishing up the smaller scenes so that the other actors could actually see what was going on. And during the week, one of the directors liked to schedule specific rehearsals for the people who had larger parts. So I think that's probably the best method, because if you do that kind of thing for you know, this show, and everyone was there for everything, it would just be a lot of them sitting around with the limited rehearsal time we already have being spent on other people, you know, and chaos would absolutely ensue from that. So, yeah, I think it's probably best in that method anyway. And as far as me myself, I did say yes to practicing more songs to the director. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, if I, you know, refine some of this stuff now and then get the extra practice, then once I am recovered, I'll bounce back even stronger than before. So I guess we'll see. I think I'm done in terms of looking up songs, though. I researched the ones that I needed. I've got one song as a giant, which was a Benny Hill routine that I'd never heard of in my life. So yeah, I guess that I had to look up, but I looked up before, so I think I've got that sorted. It's kind of interesting, because that was originally the one that was picked out so it would have no singing lines, but speaking song, basically. So yeah, that's where things are at the moment in terms of interesting things of this week. You know, uploads aside, because, you know, I talk about those usually when there's nothing else for me to mention. But yeah, as far as uploads go, I guess the one thing to talk about is like the Gacha Fest playlist. Mops was around on my review yesterday, so he definitely was, maybe just forgot to check Discord, because I sent him a message about putting Total Drama Gacha into the Gacha Fest playlist because it qualifies for it, and it's not there at the moment, but I left the link, so hopefully Mops can sort that out. And also I saw that the Elites was in there, and so I brought up the idea that we should exclude AI voice acted videos, because it defeats the purpose, especially if part of the criteria is, like the effort gone into actually outsourcing people and collaboratively putting, the videos together in the spirit of the Gacha voice acting community. So that's also not been fixed. The Elites are still in there, but the other judges seem to agree with me, so we'll see if the powers that be rule in our favor. Once again, I suppose I'm offering suggestions to the higher-ups, and hopefully those suggestions also get accepted. For once, my internet life reflects the real one. Who'd have thought? So yeah, I guess I'll get back and continue to rest up, maybe have some lemsip if I'm so done with the shopping, and we'll go from there. So please leave a like or dislike, because your opinion matters. And subscribe if you haven't already. A Culta episode tomorrow, and on that note, until next time, farewell.